Hey there, everyone. We're going to be talking March Madness, NFL offseason, and much more. Stay tuned. Sports Talk Live is next. Welcome to Sports Talk Live. I'm your host, Colin Malliott. Alongside me are Alex, Carter, and Cole. We're going to be talking everything, really, in the world of sports, so stay tuned with us for the next half hour. Let's get right into the action. So we'll start off with March Madness. It's March, the weather's turning, birds are chirping, basketball season is in full swing. Whether it's state titles or college level March Madness coming up, who do you guys have winning the March Madness NCAA tournament?
Well, personally, I have Kansas just because, they're the toughest conference, the Big 12 toughest conference, and they won that by 2 games. They won it easily. They got everything that you would look for in a team. They got the experience. They're tough backcourt with Frank Mason, Wade Selden. They're set for the long run.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Big Ten here in Michigan State. They got lots of old talent with Valentine and Costello. These guys are seniors. They know what they're doing, and they've made it pretty deep before. So we're going to have to go with Michigan State on that.
I'm also going to go with Kansas. 11 straight wins to end the year. Bill Self has been there, done that, won a tournament already. And they have a big man named Perry Ellis, his senior year. You can tell he really wants it this year, and they have great three-point shooting around him. So I'm going Kansas all the way.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very hard to root against Kansas this year, as well as Michigan State. They look like a real title contender. I've always kind of been a Villanova fan, so hopefully they'll go a little farther. We were talking about that earlier, but I'll be pulling for them. And, of course, obviously still want the Badgers to do well. However, they're seeded. Obviously not going to be a number 1 seed this year, but probably a 6 or 7 seed. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely think they fall under that bubble, 7, 8 seed. I think the loss to Purdue hurt them a little bit, but it's understandable. Tough game, senior night for Purdue there. But yeah, I think 7 or 8 around that bubble, they'll be looking right there.
Cool.
So moving on now a little bit to the conference tournaments. It's Selection Sunday is going to be coming up where teams are going to be seeded. And we'll cover 2 conference tournaments right now, ACC and the Big Ten. Who do you guys see what sort of picture do you see being painted in those tournaments?
Well, for Michigan State and Big Ten, obviously I got to go with them again because I said them before. They're going to take hold. They have lots of old talent. I just love their fight and drive in all of their games. And then for the ACC, I got to pick North Carolina. They have lots of good players with Bryce Johnson. He's playing great right now. He's got double-doubles, and he's averaging that. So I got to go with UNC.
Not going to differ much from you there. I got Michigan State. I can't really bet against Tom Izzo in March. And Denzel Valentine on Valentine's Day and later this year, Michigan State is 6-0 with an average margin of victory of 21 points, which is absolutely outstanding. And I also agree, North Carolina, Bryce Johnson, great player. Virginia's playing great defense, but the Duke isn't as deep as they usually are. So I go with North Carolina and Bryce Johnson.
Yeah, I go with Michigan State, too, in the Big Ten. I mean, they're the class of the Big Ten, easily, no doubt about it. And Virginia, Bennett Ball, once again, he knows how to win. It's that simple. And I got to go with Virginia in the ACC.
I'm going to disagree with you guys for the Big Ten. I have Indiana actually winning it. I see them upsetting, so to speak, Michigan State. Right now they're on a 5-game win streak. They only have 3 conference losses this year, and they're ranked number 11. So I could see them kind of sneaking up on people. And then for the ACC, I have Virginia. Right now they're number 3 in the nation. They've won 11 of the last 13 games, and the only 2 losses there were Miami and Duke, who are both ranked 12 and 13 respectively by a total of 4 points. So I really see Virginia going far in that tournament. Moving on now, keeping the focus on Wisconsin basketball, Greg Gard was officially named the Badgers head coach. He kind of had been the interim head coach for a while and was officially named it just recently. Do you guys see him being a long-term replacement for Bo Ryan or kind of like a short-term fix?
I think it's definitely long-term. I mean, with Greg Gard, what are they, 13-6 since he took over? They're really struggling there when he took over. They're really, down in the cellar. They're on some bad times, and he took over, turned that program around, installed more fundamentals, got back to the swing offense, and the future, I think, is very bright for Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, I saw the interview with Bo Ryan when he stepped down, and he had a lot of confidence with Greg Gard, and I love to see that because Bo Ryan's been with the program so long. You just really trust a guy. So if he has that confidence in his assistant coach, I'm happy he's the head coach now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They had some ugly losses earlier in the year. Wasn't sure they were going to make the tournament. He's had a great turnaround. You hear a lot of confidence coming from current players and former Badger players on Twitter, and I think it's going to be a great year for the Badgers, and I think he'll continue to get it done.
I'm going to agree with you there. Like you said, he's been the coach for a while now, like the interim coach, I should say, and they played very well for having switching coaches in the middle of season. But he knows the system. Hopefully we'll have the same sort of hard-nosed Wisconsin Badgers basketball that we've become accustomed to as fans. So staying with college basketball now, Duke-UNC, the Tobacco Road rivalry, just had its most recent installment, a 76-72 Tar Heel victory that saw them take the top seed in the ACC tournament. What were your thoughts on the game, and do you guys see them sort of meeting back up in the ACC tournament, possibly in the championship?
Well, for me personally, I don't see them meeting back up. I mean, Duke, they're down this year. Their numbers, that's what you get with all these one-and-dones. You're going to have down numbers. I mean, I think they only have, 8 scholarship guys, something like that. They only play 6 guys at a time, too. I mean, that's going to catch up to you, especially in March nowadays, especially these tournaments. I mean, you got to play back-to-back days as well. It really kills you if you don't have depth.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. I see UNC is just the better team in this stance. I mean, obviously they did win, but like I said before, Bryce Johnson, he's averaging a double-double. That's just a great player there. He's got points per game, he's got 16, and rebounds is 10. If you got a guy who's going out there and getting double-digit boards every single time, you can shoot the ball more. More possessions, that's great. You want that. So definitely with UNC. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think North Carolina was clearly the better team. They should have won the first game if there was a correct travel call on Grayson Allen, which he hit the game winner. I thought they were a better team. I think they've shown they're a better team. They won the ACC, and I don't think Duke is deep enough to make a run to meet them in the ACC championship. Yeah,
like you said, Duke beat them last month 74-73 in a close game too. So it was interesting to see how UNC actually out-rebounded Duke 64-29 and really won the game in the paint, which could be a testament to you saying they just got worn down. They only played really 6 main guys the entire game, which could really be their downfall, like you said. One thing's for sure, Duke-UNC is one of the greatest college rivalries of all time. We're going to see a lot more great games throughout the years, and basically that's about it. You can't count out Duke fully because you got Coach K. I mean, yeah, exactly. He's been there forever. He's kind of like our Bo Ryan, and I don't know, they're never really out because they're just such a great program. So they're always there. And last game they were pretty close. It was 76. Duke is really synonymous with college basketball success. Yeah. All right. Well, one thing's for sure: March Madness. Everyone's going to be watching. It's going to be great. But first, check out these perfect pets. We'll be back to you in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Kendra. I'm 2 years old. I love conversation. I'm shy at first, but I'm also very curious and friendly.
I'm Priscilla. I'm a 2-year-old cat. I'm fun, sweet, playful, and I love attention.
Hi, I'm Watermelon. I'm a 2-year-old lab mix, quiet, lovable, well-mannered, and I love nothing more than a good belly rub.
Hi, I'm Rusty. I'm a 6-year-old Pomeranian. I'm a cute little fur ball, and I love attention so much that I'm very content just sitting in your lap. To find out more about adoption for these pets and others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Again, the number for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 781-4014. Well, back to Sports Talk Live. We talked about college sports. We talked specifically basketball. And now we're going to move on to the professional side of sports world, specifically the NFL. Peyton Manning announced yesterday that he's retiring from pro football. His final year was kind of shrouded in controversy at the beginning, and as well as sort of some allegations later on, but it finished with him winning the Super Bowl. So do you guys think that Peyton Manning, the sheriff, did he ride out on top, or will his legacy kind of be tarnished by these allegations?
Well, you know, Peyton Manning, the sheriff, this guy.
Yeah.
I was just looking online some of the stats, and he holds the record for the NFL career passing touchdown records at 539. And I mean, like some more, like this is just an immense amount of stats he has. Some more would include most passing yards in a career, single season touchdown record he holds, and the most passing yards in a season. I mean, this guy's stat sheets just go on for miles. And you know, congratulations to him. That's going to be there forever.
Definitely, probably the greatest regular season quarterback of all time, no doubt about it. He always got it done in the regular season, that's for sure. But I mean, when it came to crunch time, what do you guys feel about that? I mean, he didn't always show up in the postseason.
That's like, I agree with you on that. Definitely the greatest regular season of all time, but some questions to when he got to like the playoffs and could he really deliver in big games. You saw that against Carolina in the Super Bowl this year. Luckily, I was really pulling for him to get that. That's a Lombardi trophy, and congrats to him. Like you were saying, Carter, he has a record 14 Pro Bowls. This guy was just a beast for his entire career, and like you really got to commend him on that career. And hopefully, these allegations and things like that are coming up really don't like ruin him, or ruin his legacy, I guess.
Yeah, I think one thing that will help with that is he doesn't go out just a champion, but he goes out a lovable champion. All of his commercials that he's on relate with the chicken parm, you taste so good. I think he's really created like a possibility for himself to go into TV later in his career, or go into team ownership or something. And I think he'll be looked at with a positive light for the rest of his life.
Yeah, hopefully. A couple other like major retirements. We talked Marshawn Lynch retired. Charles Woodson, and just today, I think it was, Calvin Johnson, Megatron, announced his retirement. Do you guys think this sort of like ushers in a new generation of stars that'll be sort of taking over the NFL?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Well, personally, it makes me feel old. I remember
definitely.
Calvin Johnson, that for sure. I remember growing up watching this guy. And personally, you know, I'm relieved that he's gone. Don't have to see him
Being a Packer fan,
2 times
yeah.
a year. Being a Packer fan, don't have to see him 2 times a year. But yeah, definitely a new wave's coming in. You know, look at some of the great wide receivers, Julio Jones, and other great defense players, J.J. Watt now too. And, you know, it's a new wave coming in, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So kind of keeping with the NFL, it's currently the heart of the offseason. Rumors are flying for where some stars will end up. Notably, Matt Forte in talks about joining the Packers. Apparently, Julius Peppers, who's his former teammate at the Bears, is trying to persuade him to come up to Green Bay. And if he were possibly to join Green Bay, what does that mean for the Green Bay run attack? What do you guys think?
You know, I'd love to see him there. He's a great running back, and with him alongside of Eddie Lacy, I mean, we could still be another contender for this next year, upcoming season, if he decides to come to Green Bay. I'd love that. You know, just mix up the game and make us more effective.
I personally think it would be a rather foolish move. I think with this day and age, running the ball is out of date, I want to say, and I think it's too much money at a running back position where you already have a bit of a crowded backfield, and I don't think bringing in a veteran like Matt Forte is going to help in that scenario.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting with Eddie Lacy sort of regaining his form, and he really got pushed to get more athletic over the offseason. He was a pretty big guy last season. So, Packers were 12th in the league for rushing. I personally, I would like it if Matt Forte came, but then, like you said, that would mean we'd have to we being the Packers would have to sort of thin out that backfield, having Lacy, Starks, and possibly Forte.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, Starks, I don't know. If they get Forte, I don't think they're going to re-sign Starks. I mean, passing has definitely been a major theme in the NFL.
Green Bay
coming back
football,
up.
yeah.
Green Bay football too. But I mean, I think we saw with the Broncos and the Panthers, the ground and pound style, I think is definitely coming back, and I think 2 running backs would definitely help with that.
Other sort of rumors that were circulating, DeMarco Murray could possibly be going to Tennessee. I know you were talking about that yesterday. Was it a draft? I think it was a draft pick for DeMarco Murray kind of swap.
Yeah, I haven't really seen all the details. Haven't yet come out. That's for sure. They're going to confirm it Wednesday. I saw Adam Schefter said it's apparently going to get done. They just don't know all the details as of yet. Which I mean, this is huge for Tennessee now. I mean, got Mariota now, Murray. Who knows? But definitely
they could
on the up
be
and up,
like on the up and up, exactly. Sort of moving on now. We talked NFL quite a bit. We're going to push over to the NBA and the Bucks, since we're in Wisconsin, onto the hardwood. It was recently announced that Michael Carter-Williams is going to have season-ending hip surgery this Thursday, which is kind of like an exclamation point on a very disappointing year for the Bucks, who are currently 26-38. They look like they'll be missing the playoffs. So, what does this mean for Michael Carter-Williams? Do you think he'll have another chance, or is this the end of MCW at Milwaukee?
I mean, it might be. It just all depends on how he comes back and bounces back from this injury. And you have Giannis and Jabari, who are just building chemistry right now. I mean, like you said, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. So they can use the rest of the season as a building step to move on and just become. They're a young team. If they can use this chemistry that they're building, it might help them, get back into the playoffs this next upcoming season.
I say put Giannis at the point. They've been experimenting with it a little bit, and I think as he continues to grow as a player, and I think he's been getting triple doubles like crazy lately. He can definitely pass the ball. He can score the ball. He can rebound the ball. He's turning into a complete player, and I think given some time, he could be a great force in the NBA.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I say put Giannis at the point, see where it goes from there. I'd say, there's definitely shooting guards this upcoming draft as well. They can definitely, build through the draft as well. I mean, I personally believe, don't try and tank, but try and get as high as a draft pick you possibly can to help rebuild for the future.
Yeah. Michael Carter-Williams, he only started 37 of 54 games this year. He's certainly not like a solid first-team choice, but he did have the most assists. I think it was you that told me Greg Monroe and him were already on the trade block. So with that circumstance, as well as them having O.J. Mayo, Tyler Ennis, Gravis Vasquez, I see them sort of letting him go. Moving on now, Warriors-Lakers. Shocking upset is the only way I can put it. Kobe and the Lakers beat the Warriors on Sunday 95-112, and it's being touted as the greatest upset in NBA history. So Kobe, who's in his last season on that farewell tour almost of the country, and the struggling Lakers were able to upset the powerhouse that is Golden State. Was this actually the greatest upset in professional sports? Because the way that I look at it, there's usually not a huge gulfing class between two teams in a professional league. Not as you see maybe a 16 and a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. But so these two sports teams, what do you guys think? Is it the greatest, possibly, or is that kind of overselling it a little bit?
I don't know if it's the greatest upset at the time, but I was definitely shocked when I saw the score. I was like, this cannot be right. The Lakers all year, it blew my mind, to be honest with you. I could not believe what was happening.
It's a fluke, honestly. Maybe Kobe had some magic coming from him because, it's his final season and he pulled off a win, or maybe they blew the game. Who knows? But, yeah, it's a fluke. It doesn't mean anything for the Warriors season. They're a great team. They're going to move on from this. It's honestly all in the past.
I think it was the biggest regular season NBA upset of all time. It must have been the Kobe socks.
Yeah, exactly.
The Lakers were wearing Kobe Bryant socks, and I think they might have done it. But if you look at the Warriors' losses this year, they've lost to the Lakers, the Blazers, the Bucks, the Pistons, the Nuggets, and the Mavs. None of those teams are you're like, wow, that's
top
a team that's going to beat
teams.
the Warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the Warriors just tend to overlook a couple teams every once in a while, get lazy, and that's what I think was the cause of that loss.
That's what you get with such a long season. Yeah. I mean, you get those fluke games that come in there and you lose. So.
Definitely. Like we said, Warriors 55-6 right now. The Lakers 13-51. Kind of a crazy finish. Moving on towards the NBA playoffs now. So we were talking about Steph Curry and the Warriors having just an absolute dominant season. They've been blowing out teams. Curry's been sitting entire fourth quarters of games, just because they're ahead by so much. Do you guys, and they're also being compared to like Jordan and the Bulls in the 90s. Do you guys think that anyone can catch up to the Warriors, or is it like almost NBA Finals are already over?
You know, like the only team that's close in my mind is the Spurs. They've been there forever. You know, they're just a team like 15 years. They are always in the playoffs. So the Warriors are just a scoring machine, and the only team that like could possibly catch them is the Spurs. But they'd have to really make a run because it's just hard. They're draining threes every game.
I don't know. I'm not going to doubt LeBron. I think he's a different player in the playoffs. I think the Cavs have a real chance. The East is never that strong. I don't see anybody taking out the Cavs in the East. And I think those Warriors are going to have to battle through the upper part of the Western Conference. So I'm going to say if anybody has a shot, it's the Cavs and LeBron.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, you never can count out LeBron, that's for sure. Definitely in the East, definitely the Cavs are the front runner, that's for sure about it. I mean, the Raptors are pushing them a little bit, but you know LeBron's going to be at the end, no doubt.
So in that last game against the Lakers, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry combined for 1 from 18 from three-point range, which is usually their forte, so to speak. So if Curry and Klay if they can't mesh and they can't create points and opportunities, do you guys think that would be the downfall if anyone could possibly take out the Warriors?
You know, like, honestly, they're the Splash Bros, that's like you said before.
Exactly.
So we're going to have to see what the future holds with that.
Well, thank you guys for that sort of in-depth analysis. We'll be right back, but first check out this promo for Eagle Nation.
Hey, Eagle fans, WMCM-TV has a brand new sports show. That's right. Join us every Monday and Friday to keep up to date with all the Eagle athletics. We'll recap highlights, talk to coaches and players, and keep you up to date on what's happening around campus. Pretty cool, right? The show that I'm talking about is Eagle Nation. So join the crew every Monday and Friday at 12 p.m. to talk about UWL athletics. When you think of sports, think of us, Eagle Nation, on WMCM-TV.
All right, welcome back to Sports Talk Live. Well, guys, we've covered sort of most of the mainstream sports going on right now. We'll get into some of these odds and ends and in the sporting world. We'll start with talking UFC now. And it's just been insane recently, the sort of upsets and different things that have been happening. We had Nate Diaz defeating Conor McGregor in the second round of their fight, as well as Holly Holm, who was famously beat Ronda Rousey, lost to Miesha Tate, who Rousey has beaten very handily a couple times. So as the mighty have sort of fallen, do you guys see this as like a power shift in the UFC, or is it just sort of flukes as you guys were talking before?
You know, honestly, it could be a fluke. I'm not really sure at this point with fighting. Like, it's a crapshoot. Like, anyone who could win. So, and one thing I really liked about McGregor was his humbleness after the fight. He admitted to all of his faults. He's like, yeah, I lost, and I'll be ready for the next one. He wasn't gloating or just, bashing the other guy. He took the heat for it. So.
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to overconfidence. I think when you look at Rousey, you look at McGregor, they were just thought they had it in the bag. Nobody was putting up...
Definitely like the bigger names in the fight.
Yeah, nobody was putting up fights against them, really. They were just dominating. Mm-hmm. I do think Rousey comes back and absolutely dominates. I think it was good for her to lose. I think she's more humble now, and I think she's going to come back and dominate.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be great for the sport, too, if Ronda Rousey can come back and, beat the rematch, get our rematch with, Miesha Tate. Now she's going to fight, win back her belt. And same with McGregor. I think he's great for the sport. Everybody knows about him. Even if you don't follow UFC, you know who Conor McGregor is. It's that simple. He makes the UFC pretty much. That's what it is.
I agree with you. It's definitely very exciting for the sport to see some of these different names toppling these real titans that have been dominating the sport for the last at least couple years. So moving on now to a different sport that's also throws punches. We're going to be talking about hockey. NHL regular season ends on April 9th, which means playoffs are right around the corner. 8 teams from each division will make the playoffs. What sort of picture do you guys see taking shape, and who do we think is going to win it all?
Well, the NHL playoffs is so hard to predict. Every year, year in and year out, you could have a low seed and just topple a big seed. I mean, home ice really doesn't matter either in hockey. That's what makes it so unique. Every game in and game out, you don't know who's going to win. But personally, I know the Capitals have been on a tear lately. They're the favorites, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Capitals too. They're great. They're the first team to 100 points this season. They got Ovechkin, some star players on their team. They're getting a hot streak right now. If they can keep that rolling into the playoffs, they've got a shot. I mean, yeah, that's all can be said.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to look at the wild card races towards the end of the season. There's a lot of close races for that. I think that the Capitals have a great chance, but I think I'm going to take the Ducks. They've been playing really well lately. I think they actually lost to the Capitals.
Yeah, the Capitals just beat them last night 2-1.
In
so.
Overtime.
A shootout, yeah.
So I think that could be a great series if that were to happen. But I'll take the Ducks just because it's different, I guess.
I'm going to kind of have to agree with you there. Like we said, Ducks are number 2 in the power rankings. Capitals are number 1 right now. And the Capitals just toppled the Ducks in that shootout last night. But hopefully, I'm hoping to see them in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think that'd be a great series. We saw it go down to the wire last night, but that would be a really fun sort of championship for me.
Good for the sport.
So moving on now to other world news, really. It was announced yesterday that Maria Sharapova, the former number 1 overall, failed her drugs test at the Australian Open. She tested positive for meldonium, a blood thinner which is recently added to the banned substances list. So Sharapova wasn't aware, she said, that it was added to this list of banned substances. But many of her sponsors, such as Nike, who she has a huge $70 million deal with, are backing away, distancing themselves from Sharapova during this investigation. So it's kind of like how we talked about Peyton Manning before. Do you guys see this sort of scandal, so to speak, kind of tarnishing her legacy, or are we gonna know Sharapova for what she's done for the sport?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's just a bump in the road. You know, those companies like Nike, they're pulling back, just to have their some safe distance. Yeah, I know. So they're not really in the limelight with a lot of this. And yeah, honestly, only time can tell, because she's such a great athlete. And what you said, it was like 2006 she started taking this, so she's had it for a while, and only recently it was on the bad substance list. So, it's just something that only time can tell, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think this is ridiculous. I mean, she's been taking a drug since, 2006?
Yep.
And it was for...
And it was legal that entire time.
Yeah, it was legal. Yeah, the whole time. She's been taking it
for
for 10 years, and, I mean, she's done it because she's had onset diabetes. I mean, personally, I think the whole thing's ridiculous. That's just me.
What do you got, Cole?
I also agree. It's ridiculous. It's not like she's one of those baseball players where all of a sudden she starts hitting for way better averages. I think it's ridiculous.
I'm going to have to agree with you guys there. Well, move on to my personal favorite time of the entire Sports Talk Live. It's time for rants. We have 30 seconds on the clock. Some really pressing matters in our brains. I'll start off. First of all, Manchester United really needs to get their lives together. Currently in 6th place in the Barclays Premier League. They've just been disappointing this entire year. Leicester City, congrats to them. They're in 1st place. Cinderella story. Hopefully they can win the title. Go. All
right, well, mine isn't a rant, it's more of a rave, but I would love to, rave about the UWGB Phoenix. They pulled off the upset last night against the number 1 seed Valpo. Link Darner's got his boys playing great, and they played tonight to go to the NCAA tournament against Wright State. Hopefully they can do it. They play tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Please just all watch. Cheer for the Phoenix, the hometown team. Hopefully they can do it.
Cool. Yeah, all right, so mine, I got to say it. Forte, please come to the Packers. We need you. I love James Starks. He's a good running back. But to have you're a veteran. We just really want you on our squad. And then also I got to say congratulations to Peyton Manning and Greg Gard for retiring and becoming head coach. Great for the sports. I love it.
Mine's more of a rave as well. Mine's a rave to college basketball. This is the best time of year for college basketball. We got the conference tourneys right now. We're about to have the NCAA tourney. Everybody should fill out a bracket for maybe all of the tourneys. Makes it super entertaining. I know what I'm doing over spring break, and that's watching college basketball, and you should too.
Definitely agreed. All right, well, thank you guys for coming in. We had some great conversations, some good analysis, and we'll see you next time. All right.